question that Wattwiller was asking. How do you reconcile your own conception of Satanism, which you've identified with the darker and more disturbing form described in her research?
I'm not a Satanist in the sense that I don't subscribe to any ism. I'm not an ist. I'm just not an ist in general, right? I mean, one of the reasons why I have somewhat distanced myself from a discourse of Prometheism is not because I have reevaluated the significance of the Prometheus archetype in any way. No, the Prometheus archetype is absolutely central to my work. And I think it's going to be incredibly important to orienting the human future. And in fact, it's so important that it shouldn't be contained by an ism or identified with some specific ideology or something that sounds ideological. And so, Pat, I framed Prometheism the way that I did for practical reasons, because I was trying to organize assets and resources and talent and institutional cooperation for the sake of a practical project in the world. But that met with massive intelligence interference, and it also, to tell you the truth, culty atmospheres really bother me. I don't like religiously minded people. I really don't. And I realized that the way I had framed this aspect of my philosophical project, first of all, was amenable to institutional attack in ways that prevented it from being constructive, and it also attracted the wrong kind of people who want some kind of cult or religion to believe in. So, I'm not a founder of any religion, and I will be appalled if over my dead body somebody creates a religion based on my philosophical project. So already I've said some things implicitly about Satanism, especially if you consider that from a Judeo-Christian perspective, any competent comparative religion analysis of Prometheus will lead you to the conclusion that he is Satan or Lucifer. And they are the same thing, regardless of what the Steinerians and other Gnostics want to think. Lucifer, the Lucifer of John Milton, the Lucifer of Romantic European literature, is one and the same figure as the Satan of the Bible. And from a Judeo-Christian and a Muslim perspective, Prometheus maps onto that figure. Okay, but Prometheus is older than that figure and is not dependent on Judeo-Christianity or Islam. So one of the reasons why I embraced Prometheus as an archetype is because Prometheus is a Satan that does not require Judeo-Christianity and Islam. In other words, to put it another way, Prometheus is a rebel against oppressive hierarchical tradition in a way that does not require Judeo-Christianity or Islam as a background, okay? So it's not parasitic upon these Abrahamic belief systems in the way that other forms of Satanism are. A guy who did a similar thing in the history of modern Satanism, but although I would say with considerably less sophistication, is Michael Aquino. Michael Aquino, in developing the Temple of Set and breaking away from that charlatan, carny, con artist, Anton LaVey, breaking away from the Church of Satan, his development of Set as a pre-Christian Satan, a pre-Christian adversary figure for a kind of counter-traditional left-hand path, fairly philosophical form of spirituality, is another example of the kind of thing that I have been doing with Prometheus.
Now, before we get to Southern Blues, I want to remind everybody who's watching, if you're enjoying this, be sure to smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, click the bell. All that is